back.
We are back. Well, you were here. You were there for an very exciting.
The hype train was hype.
Yeah, hype train. Everything going on there. That was a lot of fun.
It is adequately named.
I will say, I stepped away for a second, and then I came back, and I saw the first thing I saw was the fact that there was Gmax Blastoise, Gmax Charizard, and Gmax Venusaur all on the same team.
Yeah.
And then I was very. And then we had the hype train go on, and that was very fun. So I'm glad I didn't miss too much.
Rollercoaster had to call the plays. I was too busy getting hype for the hype train.
Yeah, you were too busy being the internet technology person, where Rollercoaster is a bit
he said
self-proclaimed technologically deficient.
Yeah, well, to each their own, I suppose.
So it looks like we're just waiting here for Up Smash to get matched up with Brain. I know Brain said that they were going to be a couple seconds late, just because they had to go to the bathroom or step out for a second, and we should just be getting matched up ready, but we can talk about the teams in the meantime. What do you see that's the most interesting here?
Well, I see Porygon2 on both sides, which means that we could be in for a Porygon2 endgame at any point in time.
Yeah, those can be fun. Those can also be try-attack freezes. Hopefully, we can see an Urshifu on one side and Kartana with a fighting move on the other side, getting to the point where we don't have...
Wow, these teams are really similar. Like, now that I'm looking at them.
Yeah, it's Screens plus Porygon2 plus Kartana plus Fire type plus, and it just kind of goes down the line very similarly.
Yeah, interesting. All right. I know for me, Kartana is one of the scariest Pokemon to face in this Series 7. It's just so fast and it hits so hard. If you let it get going, it's almost game.
Yeah, it's definitely a rough thing to face. It's nice when you have something like a Rotom Heat or an Incineroar to kind of slow it down, along with like strong special attackers in general. Just because, I mean, Assault Vest Kartana is terrifying, but its damage output is a little bit lacking compared to something like a Choice Band or a Life Orb. To where like your Porygon2 can survive a Sacred Sword.
True.
Or your Tapu Fini could potentially survive a Leaf Blade, although not a Max Overgrowth. So it's a little bit easier to deal with potentially than if it was more offensive, like in singles or whatnot. But I have to say it's one of the more terrifying things to deal with. Especially my favorite Pokemon to use is a Rotom Wash, and with Rillaboom and Kartana just existing, it's a little difficult to pivot around.
Yeah, for sure. Another interesting thing is that we see both the Grimmsnarl and the Regieleki. I assume that the Grimmsnarl is going to be carrying the screens, whereas on Brain's team, we don't see that Grimmsnarl, so it's possible that Regieleki might be a screen setter.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something there. I think it's definitely Screens Alecki on Brain's side. It'll be interesting for Up Smash to decide whether or not it's like Focus Sash or if it's Magnet or Choice Specs potentially.
Choice Specs Alecki is terrifying.
I know it's the most popular Alecki right now, and I understand why, because like Choice Specs Electro Ball one-hit KOs Clefairy, it one-hit KOs some Dusclops, and it just does absurd
Does it get Glastrier?
Non-Dynamax? I'm not sure.
I'm not either. That's interesting. Electro Ball is such a cool move.
Yeah, it's so silly. It does like 50% to Amoonguss. Like, no not very effective move should be doing that much damage. But I mean, as we see here, Up Smash immediately locks into Porygon2 Alecki as the lead.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Alecki is really strong against everything not named Garchomp, because even Kartana is not that particularly bulky. And I bet a Thunderbolt, especially seeing that it's Magnet, is going to do about half to a non-Dynamax Kartana. But
yeah,
we immediately see the more Pokemon lock in.
Grimmsnarl and Urshifu being the ones that Up Smash decides to bring in the back.
Yeah, I would say that that's potentially a little bit weak to opposing Kartana.
I agree.
Potentially you have speed control, you can set things up, and you can just deal with it with the combination of Ice Beam from Porygon2 and for Electro Web from Aleki and close combat, there's multiple different options.
For sure. And also speed control, whoever has the speed control kind of gets to call the shots in that regard. We do see the Garchomp and Incineroar from Brainside, and then we see the Porygon2 and the Regieleki, like we said before.
Yeah. Is the Chosen One a event Garchomp mark? I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I have no idea.
I don't think it's a regular mark, and it looks shiny, so it could potentially be like an old gen like Cynthia's Garchomp or something of the sort there.
It's not shiny.
Oh, it's not shiny?
No, it's regular.
Okay, well then I'm not particularly sure what event Garchomp that could possibly be, but then again, I don't know. It could potentially be a Cynthia's Garchomp from an older gen.
I love shiny Garchomp.
It's a strange looking Pokemon.
It's very kind of like hard on the eyes, but that's why I like it. Regieleki just going to protect, saying, I don't want to take a fake out this turn. But Incineroar on Brainside is going to call that and go ahead and fake out the Porygon2. And we see something very scary coming from that Garchomp, and that is a Swords Dance.
I think that's just about the best possible turn one you could have gotten from Brainside of the field. Now you just have to have a way to deal with this Garchomp, like with the Porygon2 if you're Brain, and be able to take it out this turn. Then you're kind of in a really good spot.
I mean, the Garchomp is clearly going to max here, right? The question is, what does Incineroar do? Do we see something like a parting shot, or do we see maybe just a hard switch out into something that might, maybe be willing to take some of these hits? The Garchomp doesn't max, though, in fact. Goes ahead and protects, and Aleki Bolt switches and gets out of there.
Yeah, I would oh, go ahead.
No, that brought it all the way down to its berry. I know it was a citrus berry, but still, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, I would definitely say, like, this Incineroar is probably going for something like a Taunt this turn, or even a Flare Blitz to just do damage to it. I would guess Taunt, though, with what's going on with this play, just to put the Porygon2,
to keep it from setting up Trick Room, yeah.
Yeah, and getting to the point where you can do damage next turn, knowing you have speed in your favor.
But Porygon2 is not falling for it. Went ahead and clicked on the Ice Beam, and of course Garchomp protected, so it didn't take any damage. But now we see the Grimmsnarl out here, which is going to be able to set up the screens, and we saw that the item on that Grimmsnarl is the Light Clay, which is pretty common.
Yeah,
and here's the Garchomp Max.
We're also about to see everyone's favorite giant duck in just a second here.
You think so? You think they're going? Did we see that?
We did see
Dynamax. I was reading Discord.
And I know if Santacos is here, or if Rollercoaster's here, I know their favorite things in the world are the Dynamax Porygon2 that we are going to be seeing here. And I'm not sure how well this Garchomp takes a Max Hailstorm, considering that it is going to get a special defense boost from the Max Quake this turn, but it is a 4 times effective move off of 105 base attack, or special attack.
Yeah. Sorry, just reading a message in the Discord here real quick. But we do see Big Duck.
Yeah, with the Reflect, I mean, this Max Quake is going to do, what, 28%?
Yeah, it's probably not going to do a whole lot. Yeah. I think you, like, 28%. That you wanted to make it sound like it was approximate, but it was totally, like, you knew how much damage that was going to do.
My guess was just that it would have done about 50% non-Dynamax, just over 50% non-Dynamax. So my guess is 28% Dynamax.
Yes, Santaka is a human calculator. That is no joke right there.
So we're gonna see a minus either. I don't believe I know if we got the Max Quake boost or the download boost. I believe it was probably an attack boost and not a special attack boost, but we should be able to tell from this damage here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks like it's a -1 Max Hailstorm right there into +1 Garchomp.
Yep. And it did about 28% in return to the Max Garchomp. I'm just basing that off the previous calculation.
At this point, I mean, Garchomp just can continue to get Max Quake boosts. And because the Porygon2 is maxed, it can't set up Trick Room and it's taunted. But you're kind of free here to just keep attacking if you're the Regieleki and the Garchomp on Brain's side of the field.
Yeah, very true. But we do see a Max Guard go ahead and come out from that Garchomp, probably wanting to avoid this very thing. And that is the fake tears, which would probably be coupled by a Max Hailstorm. Regieleki says, I don't want it, so I'm going to put up a light screen to prevent some of that special attack damage from the Porygon2.
Yeah, I think with the combination of another Quake boost, though, and that light screen, I think Garchomp survives a Fake Tears Hailstorm this upcoming turn.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I guess it probably survives, maybe with 10-15% left. I could be wrong, but I don't think this KOs. So I think Brain is in a pretty good position, getting that free Swords Dance turn 1, doing a decent amount of damage to Porygon, and in return not letting a KO be taken from this Porygon's Dynamax.
We don't see the fake tears this time. Instead, we're going to just see a light screen go up. And the Regieleki is going to Volt Switch into the Grimmsnarl.
I believe we'll see the Incineroar come back. What do you think?
I think so. I think that makes sense. Yep, yeah. There it is. Incineroar the Radiant. Gonna drop the attack of that Porygon2. Not gonna matter a whole lot on that. The Grimmsnarl, maybe.
Yeah, and the nice thing here is that you have the freedom to now fake out and Stomping Tantrum into the Porygon2 this upcoming turn. And then again, you can taunt and Stomping Tantrum it, or you can Flare Blitz and Stomping Tantrum it, as this Garchomp is definitely going to be surviving here. Yeah, that did nothing. So it'll be interesting to see now what Up Smash can do with there's not really anything in return that can do damage now that this Porygon2 is going to get faked out and pretty much KO'd.
Yep, seems that way.
So, I mean, if you're here, I mean, what is defeating this Garchomp? Seeing that the Urshifu and the Regieleki both have no way of hitting it, or are outsped by it in the back.
It's true. I think that, Up Smash was counting on that Porygon being enough damage to take care of that Garchomp, which in fact turned out not to be true after those special defense boosts. Maybe thinking the fake tears plus a hailstorm would be enough to take it out, but it just wasn't enough damage on this Garchomp. So in the next game, I'll be looking for something that maybe can hit the Garchomp a little bit harder than this Porygon2.
Yeah, but I mean, the issue is there's not really much on the team that can deal with Garchomp.
It's kind of true.
Once you have the light screen and the max Quake boosts, this Porygon2 really doesn't do that much damage, especially if it's getting taunted, and now you can't recover, you can't Trick Room, you can't get any form of speed control. The Garchomp can just Stomping Tantrum its way through the team, or even, as we see Rock Slide here.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is an archetype that we're not even done seeing in Series 7, which is screens plus the Porygon2. It's just really strong. We do see the Grimmsnarl is going to head and go down to that Flare Blitz.
Yeah, and I can see the chat talking about it, but we may or may not be having some questionable marks on some. Oh my gosh, it lived the Ice Beam. But yeah, I mean, at this point, the Garchomp kind of still just, you have to Sucker Punch it this turn. It could protect, and you can just Flare Blitz the Porygon to pick that off, and then whatever you have in return. Like the safest play is probably just to let yourself go down to a Sucker Punch. And Stomping Tantrum the Porygon2 and Flare Blitz the Porygon2. But, I mean, you can get fancy here. You can protect the Garchomp or switch the Garchomp and Parting Shot the Urshifu.
Yeah. Let's see. I like it sometimes when people get fancy.
Oops, it is actually Water Urshifu, so it's just a very free Aqua Jet, and there's nothing the Garchomp can do to protect itself from that.
No, nothing at all.
So.
And it is Choice Banded too, I believe.
Yeah. At this point, I mean, I really don't see a way through the opposing Regieleki. Oh, and the opposing Tapu Fini for that matter.
Yeah. Tapu Fini is going to be rough to take out with the combination of Pokemon that Up Smash has left.
Yeah, I would say like your own Regieleki is probably pretty decent against it, but it's really not that great, to be honest. Especially, I mean, it is.
If it's a calm mindset.
Yeah, but you kind of now the Incineroar comes in this upcoming turn and can fake out plus Calm Mind, and this like you can just fake out the Urshifu and Calm Mind and kind of just win because at plus
Yeah.
1 the Regieleki can't really do that much.
I will pause to say though, I mean the Incineroar's coming back. No, the Incineroar's not coming back in. Sorry, it's the Regieleki. I will say though, where there's a Tri-Attack, there's a way.
I'm not sure Tri-Attack is going to get off this turn. I think we might just see an Electroweb and a Moonblast double KO.
It's very true. Because we know that Urshifu is banded. I'm sure that Brain may not know that yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not Focus Sash. It's not going to live through the turn if the Moonblast does go into it.
Mm-hmm. And even, yeah, we see the Aqua Jet come off. This is probably going to do like, what did we see, 55%. Volt Switch taking out the Urshifu this turn. Oh, not taking it out.
The interesting thing too is that still, if that's a double into Urshifu, Brain is still not going to know if it's Focus Sash or not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they can tell by the damage.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Incineroar is right back in. Now you have your fake out. I assume the Porygon2 probably went for Moonblast, or the Feeny went for Moonblast into the P2, or just a Scald. Something you don't particularly see as often on.
Not a lot on the Feeny. Usually opting for something like that spread move, Muddy Water. But the good thing about Scald is that it has the potential for effects in the burn, and it also is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Unlike the Muddy Water.
Do you think that Aqua Jet KOs Incineroar from here? Because I don't think it does. But that would be like you need like to Thunderbolt the Feeny and Aqua Jet the Incin and get 2 KOs there somehow.
I think we're gonna find out. Because this Urshifu cannot switch moves, so it's going to Aqua Jet.
As we're seeing, another. I don't know if this is the right play. I think potentially this is maybe you can do it with a combination of that does just KO. Oh, critical hit.
It's a crit. I wonder if that mattered.
I think that probably mattered. I know it is choice band, but we did get the Intimidates off onto it, and I think that probably mattered. So at this point, I think Up Smash's Regieleki is actually in a really good position to win this.
Yeah, I think that Urshifu, one attack into that Urshifu, and it's donezo. And I really don't see a way through that Tapu Fini, to be honest. Not with the Pokemon remaining on Up Smash's side. Yeah,
and I mean, Aqua Jet could just pick off this Regieleki, although I think it's going to take the combination of 2 attacks. But Fini cannot beat Regieleki 1v1 unless it gets unless it's very especially defensively trained, or let's see. We do see the light screen get up. It does. But it fails because the light screen was already up. And yeah, no, I don't think your Fini's, unless your Fini can KO the Aleki this turn, then I don't think there's anything you can do to get through here.
We do see the Moonblast from the Tapu Fini targeting down the Regieleki.
A little bit more damage.
Almost enough. Yeah, not quite enough. Regieleki's going to survive with 22 hit points. Yeah, so it looks like Tapu Fini is not going to be able to, despite the fact that Urshifu is locked into Aqua Jet, not going to be able to take a Thunderbolt from this Regieleki. So Up Smash is going to be able to take game 1.
Yeah, I think Up Smash knows now that they need to bring a better Garchomp answer or be more aggressive against the Garchomp, knowing that you can't just let it set up turn 1.
Yeah.
So
Still
maybe
managed to pull out the win though, so really well played.
Yeah.
I hate that when that happens to me, when it seems like I'm kind of like I'm in a commanding position in the beginning of the game and I can't close it out just quite right. It's always a bad feeling. What adjustments do you think are going to be made though on Brain's side?
I think Brain knows that the Garchomp is a good matchup, but just don't want to take as many ice moves. Potentially we see the lead of Incin plus Fini to get Fake Outs plus Calm Minds. I think from Up Smash's side, we just don't see the Regieleki come first, which is what it's looking like.
Yeah, saving it in the back. That makes sense. Up Smash locked in really quickly, I guess, knowing what he wants to do during this game too.
Yeah. I think what's something interesting is that if you can get through the Garchomp, the Rotom Heat kind of is a really good matchup against everything if it's faster than the Fini.
Very true.
Unless it is potentially Guillotine Kartana, the one answer to Rotom Heat.
I love one-hit KO moves.
Yeah,
I said in the next ladder tour we have, I'm running one.
I'm not sure I love them. For the competitiveness of the game, at least, they're not particularly good. I have run Guillotine before, and I never clicked it in an actual tournament, so...
Makes sense. It is scary. We see the Porygon2 and the Grimmsnarl from Up Smash, and we do see the Incineroar and the Garchomp. Do you think that Brain is going to go for another Swords Dance on turn 1?
I don't think you have the opportunity to go for Swords Dance this time. I think we might just see, and we might not even see a Fake Out. We might see a Taunt, we might see a Parting Shot immediately, but it'd be really cool to see like a immediate Fake Tears Max Hailstorm into the Garchomp, although I'm not sure that's like the safest play.
Yeah, it's probably not, especially when Incineroar is pressuring with that Parting Shot, you know, dropping the special attack of what would be the Porygon2 in that case. But also, it could be likely to come from that Incineroar because this Porygon2 seems to be kind of the optimal way of damaging that Garchomp.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, we see the Garchomp switch out.
Yeah, and luckily luckily Up Smash did not. I'm already thinking about the next game of Ragnar versus Turtle.
That's gonna be a fun one.
But Up Smash did not Dynamax this turn, so it's a pretty free Ice Beam. Not really going to do any damage at all, to be completely honest, with the Parting Shot.
Yeah, we do see the Parting Shot.
Yeah, -1 Ice Beam into a Tapu Fini. What do you think is going to happen here?
Well, I think what's going to happen is chat should look at this clip of me getting a Sheer Cold off onto Chase's Pokemon. I landed it. But here comes the Kartana, and it is ready to do some big damage, I feel.
Yeah, I have to say, for those who do not know about the context of that clip and did not watch that game, the scariest part of her team wasn't even the Sheer Cold Ninetales. It was the Dracovish. I just had to
Quick Claw activated too.
Because if it did, I lost. Luckily, it did not happen the turn I needed it not to happen. But still, it was
Quick Claw Dracovish. It's ridiculous. Don't run Quick Claw Dracovish. It's fun though.
It's fun if you have it. It's not fun to play against.
No, not at all. Because it's just too much left up to the gods, you know?
Mm-hmm. So we're going to see the Porygon2 switch out.
Yep.
Into the Regieleki, surprisingly, in the face of two Pokemon that can really threaten it. And we're going to see a Dynamax here from, I believe, Kartana?
Probably the Kartana, I would imagine. Maybe threatening something like Steel Spike, maybe just trying to boost its attack with something like a Max Knuckle.
Mm-hmm.
If it manages to get the KO, it gets 2 attack boosts in 1 turn, which is kind of crazy. But we do see the Fake Tears from the Grimmsnarl, and that is an interesting play when you don't have the immediate follow-up move because of the switch out. But still, that Kartana is max now, pretty much committed to staying in for 3 turns. So you do have those defense drops sticking, kind of, so to speak. I mean, you could switch it out, but people don't usually like to switch out their Dynamax Mon. Moonblast into Grimmsnarl is enough to go ahead and finish that off.
So I've got to ask, do you think that a Thunderbolt into Kartana does over 60%?
Yeah, I do. I mean, unless it's Assault Vest. Do we know?
I mean, I think we can see a really safe Electro Web and attack, or even just doubling up into the Kartana with Max Knuckle plus Thunderbolt, because the Kartana can't really threaten. I think you just want to make sure you can deal with one of the 2 Pokemon this turn so you can keep your Kartana alive.
Yeah, I agree. I know that I'm running Thunderbolt on my Choice Spec Lele on that team I played tonight, and it does about, 50% to non-Dynamaxed Assault Vest Kartana.
Mm-hmm.
It does quite a bit.
I think I would probably say that in my opinion, the Fini probably protects or switches, so you're into Incineroar, so you probably want to double that with, double something with Knuckle plus, with Knuckle. Oh, and yeah, we do see the Incineroar is probably coming in to come take this, -1 now Max Overgrowth, which if it was a Knuckle would have been a lot safer doubling that slot, but sadly, Up Smash didn't make that call. And this, I will say, though, this Kartana is going to be taking a lot of damage this turn from the Thunderbolt.
For sure.
So.
But now Up Smash's Kartana is at -1, going to throw a grass move into this Incineroar.
It doesn't have Dynamax candies.
Oh no! Oh, you hate to see it. Yeah, it does over 50% to the Kartana, like you said. So that means this Kartana is working on limited HP, which is not going to be very fun going forward.
But having that Incineroar switch in is pretty rough if you're Up Smash, because it's just a turn of your Dynamax. Now nothing happened, and we see the Airstream into the Alecki, as now this Kartana potentially can outspeed the Alecki after this turn and get that KO, while the Incineroar can just parting shot the Kartana and then cycle itself back in.
Yeah, and I think we'll actually get to see those speed tiers because of the grassy terrain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as we do see that the Kartana is in fact faster than the Regieleki.
Yep.
We could even potentially see a Knuckle into the Alecki. I think +1 Knuckle probably KOs it from here, and it does more damage to a switching in Porygon2.
Yeah. And if you do get the KO on the Alecki, then you get 2 attack boosts in 1 turn. Mm-hmm. This is what I mean by if Kartana gets going, it kind of it can get out of control really quickly.
Yeah. And for Turtle's asking why parting shot when you can Flare Blitz, I guess with no Dynamax candies, Flare Blitz might be safer, but I don't think that Brain knows that there's no Dynamax candies.
Yeah.
And a Flare Blitz is only doing, because of Kartana's like sky high physical defense being like 131 or whatever it is, Flare Blitz is only going to be doing 50-60%, whereas Parting Shot allows you to get both 1 attack drop and then another Intimidate the following turn, which is just a little bit safer, especially not knowing if this Kartana is sashed or if it's Assault Vest. Knowing that it's probably max attack, max speed and Focus Sash with no candies, Flare Blitz is probably safer.
Yeah, instead we just see the Airstream into a protecting Regieleki, and then we see the Max Knuckle trying to recoup that attack drop from the Intimidate from Incineroar into Incineroar, which is enough to proc that Citrus Berry. And there's the Flare Blitz, and Kartana does hang on with 30 HP.
And Incineroar took a lot of recoil damage there. Yeah, at this point, I don't know what Up Smash can do. The Kartana's at too low of HP. It can protect if it does have it, although like a Knuckle plus a Flare Blitz is still a pretty safe play, or just attacking the Regieleki, KOing that plus Flare Blitz is like really safe.
Yep. I couldn't quite see.
We see the Incineroar switching back out as, oh, Youngster Jazz, thank you for the 100 bits cheered. Can we get another hype train?
Thank you so much. I know. That would be so cool.
The most shameless of shameless plugs right there. But yeah, it really just comes down to, the Kartana takes out the Alecki with the Sacred Sword. And we're going to see a Max Knuckle going into the Feeny slot as this Kartana is using its last turn of Dynamax to again do about 20% damage.
Yeah, Max Knuckle not going to do a whole lot to Feeny. It is going to give Kartana that attack boost, but with Incineroar in the back at 30 HP, Kartana may not be in the best position here.
No, not particularly at all. And this Porygon, again, like, it doesn't have Protect. It's facing down 4 Pokemon, and I believe the Kartana's at +2 now, the opposing Kartana, and is faster. I would maybe it's slower than. Maybe this is doable with Kartana if you. Nope, it is faster.
The opposing Kartana went for an Airstream on a protecting Regieleki, which probably gives it the edge with the speed here.
Although I believe Up Smash did also go for Airstream once.
Oh, okay.
Although I could be wrong with that one, but yeah, it's just looking like
the Moonblast does a sizable chunk.
Okay, but when you know you have the Incineroar on the back that can always taunt this P2, you can just taunt Moonblast, Flare Blitz, Moonblast, or fake out Moonblast, taunt Moonblast, and just end the game.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
we're to game 3 once again.
I'm not sure if that's Specs Feeney roller coaster. Is that a Specs Feeney?
It looks like Specs Feeney to me. It could just be like max defense Porygon2 though.
Yeah.
But it looks like Specs Feeney to me.
Do you see the fake out? Not surprising. I wonder what these players are going to do in game 3. Sometimes in game 3, what you see is a total switch up from the game plan that you've seen in previous games. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe the Rotom Heat comes. If you can get through the Garchomp, that'd be a cool thing to see.
I think Up Smash's biggest thing is playing a little bit too passively. It's something that I often have troubles with is you know that Incineroar is switching in, but you're still gonna like grass move into that slot anyway. You know that the Incineroar is switching out, but you're still gonna fighting move into that slot anyway because it just covers it the switch in. Like you're trying to cover the super safe play and you end up not getting enough, like covering enough ground when you do it. And so, I mean, you just have to make the reads. Is Incin coming in? Or you have to play in a completely different manner than you have been playing in the first place. But I would say, like, because your team is so frail with Sash Kartana, non-Sash Alecki, without screens, non-Sash Urshifu, you're in a position where you can't really, like, outbulk your opponent, so you just have to make the right calls at the right times.
Yeah, and this is really a like interesting point where you have to bring the Grimmsnarl to set up screens on the one team. The other team has more of a damage dealer that's going to set up the screens, right? So there is an option for you to go for some pretty effective moves, whereas Grimmsnarl not really known for carrying anything that hits super hard.
Yeah. And I mean, we just see the same leads all 3 games, I believe, from both of these players.
Yep, this is the Incin and the Garchomp again against the Porygon2 and the Grimmsnarl.
I think this game that Up Smash should do something slightly different and target down the Incineroar, because if you target down the Incineroar, you can win with your Kartana in the back more easily.
Yeah, can't cycle those Intimidates in to reduce those attack boosts. Yep, for sure.
So that's what I would personally say is probably the safest option. I have to say, switching in a Regieleki into a Garchomp, not the safest, but the Garchomp actually switches out into a Feeney, making this look like one of the greatest plays I have seen.
Very true, and this is what you were talking about, kind of reading those plays and not playing passively, not getting behind and thinking, you know, is this Pokemon going to switch in this turn? Instead, you know, being ready for it with the switch to the Regieleki.
Yeah, I will say the issue with this play, though, is if it goes the same way it does game 2 on Brain side, this is going to be a parting shot into the Alecki. And you don't particularly want your Alecki to be at a minus. Oh, we see a taunt this time.
Just a taunt. Called that play perfectly. I think Up Smash is now positioned, since the screens, again, are on the Grimmsnarl and not on the Alecki. Here's the outside to that, right?
And I think this is another one of the plays. You just have to call that the Feeney is switching out. And like, yeah, you can't. This is one of those you play a little bit too passively, and yeah, you do catch the Spirit Break, but maybe Volt switching into the Incineroar to reset your Alecki the next turn is a little bit safer.
Yeah, we do see the Electro Web though. Going to target both Pokemon, but only do damage to that Incineroar, lowering its speed in the process.
And Spirit Break is going to be doing a decent amount of damage to this Garchomp, probably about half.
Very true.
Just under. We see probably 40% there.
Special attack drop, not going to matter a whole lot, but that Garchomp is going to take rough skin damage from the Garchomp. Flare Blitz going to land into the Regieleki.
So yeah, now you're in a really good spot where you can just Volt Switch the Incineroar, and there's not anything that can switch in, and Incineroar can't protect. So now you're pretty free to deal damage to both of these Pokemon very safely, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I think that turn, switching in the Regieleki was really important.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that was like probably so far the match defining play. This should take out Incineroar. Oh, just away from taking out, and it's in barrier range.
I hate that. That happens so many times. You think you KO the Incineroar and it gets its berry instead. Such a good berry mon.
Yeah, I've talked to people who played 19 and 18. Metagames I didn't particularly play, but they said how demoralizing it can be when you have your Incineroar get down to like 1 HP. And because back then the pinch berries were 50%, you just had a HP Incineroar. So,
and we do see the Garchomp calling perhaps the Volt Switch from the Regieleki and going ahead and Swords Dancing freely, but that Grimmsnarl puts a whole lot of damage and brings it down to very low health.
and at this point, the Garchomp can no longer Dynamax. Incineroar going for the Flare Blitz. Into the Porygon2, not going to be doing particularly that much. Doing a little bit more chip to itself, and this is a lot better of a position than Game 1 for Up Smash, because you could potentially get a KO or 2 KOs here, and not have used your max whatsoever.
Very true. The Incineroar is going to pivot out, probably preserving it for what Brain thinks is that Kartana in the back.
And we see the Garchomp protect, but I mean, as long as you don't let this Kartana get completely out of control, you could even potentially set a Trick Room this turn if you think it's going to Airstream. You're pretty safe, I would have to say.
Very true.
Yeah, the issue is you don't want it Steel Spiking the Grimmsnarl and somehow getting a KO, even though I think Reflect is up, so I don't think Steel Spike KOs from Assault Vest Kartana here. I think your safest play is honestly maxing P2, Hailstorming the Kartana, and also Fake Piercing the Kartana.
We might see max P2 twice in one match.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue that Trick Rooming is a little bit safer and then maxing it the next turn, but I think maxing it right now is a little bit safer, and getting that Fake Tears off is, it looks like that's what Up Smash is going for.
Nice.
This potentially,
I presume,
if Kartana switches out, but I think Kartana's maxing this turn.
I think so too. Yep. I think we do see the Kartana max here. Makes sense. And I do think it's in trouble a little bit. Oh, fake this out. It's the Garchomp that maxes instead.
We're seeing literally 18% Garchomp maxing. And I don't know if this is Brain's best play. I think it goes down to the combination of 2 Life Orb hits and 2 Hail hits. So, I'm a little bit surprised by that play. Maybe it works out. Maybe you just need that special defense boost on your Kartana, but I don't know if Kartana survives -1 Max Hailstorm, or -1 Kartana survives Max Hailstorm.
You see the Fake Tears from the Grimmsnarl. It is going to target that Kartana as suspected, or as we saw, I guess. The Sacred Sword's going to land into the Dynamax Porygon2. And is it just a double up into that slot?
It is. And that barely doing half, so it would have been a great play had the Porygon not Dynamaxed.
Very true.
Now
just waiting on that.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, waiting on that Max Hailstorm to see, see how much damage that does.
The funny thing here is, now that you saw that damage output, you again need to double the Porygon2 in order to get the KO the following turn, and that means Grimmsnarl is just free to Spirit Break and KO the Garchomp.
I think so, yeah. So Garchomp coming through here, like I said, not threatening big damage in one hit, but it is super annoying if you leave it alive on the field. Being able to set up those screens and then Spirit Break.
The funny thing we saw there is Up Smash clicking the first max guard, backing out, clicking the second max guard, more optimally not wasting one of your Trick Room PP and wasting a Recover PP instead, knowing you have a lot more of that.
Nice, yeah, that is true. The tech. I mean, if it comes down to a Porygon v Porygon endgame, which we haven't seen Porygon from Brain's side this game, it could be, it's just a good habit to practice using the optimal move.
Yeah, we see the max guard here. Probably also a Quake into that slot. Oh, but we do see the Quake into the Grimmsnarl slot.
Perhaps calling the max guard, yeah.
And getting the KO. Is that... Oh, I guess that just straight up KOs. I believe the Garchomp... Oh, the Garchomp is at +2 defense.
Yeah.
That was a good call from Brain's end. Now you live another turn to get another Quake off and pretty much a parting shot off. But it's still a tough position for Brain, knowing that the Kartana and the Alecki are both in the back. So it'll be interesting to see here whether or not which Pokemon Up Smash brings in and what Up Smash chooses to do once that Pokemon is on the field.
It is a Kartana. Looks like we're gonna see maybe a max hailstorm from the Porygon again.
You see Hailstorm into Incineroar potential. I mean, I think probably Strike is the best play, knowing what else is. I believe, did we see it switch back to Strike?
Yeah.
Okay. We see Fake Out coming from Instant.
Fake Out pressure, yep.
And this will be 3 KOs this turn, I believe, if this Max Quake is into Kartana. 1 into Kartana, and then both of Brain's Pokemon should be taken out here. And this is a pretty good endgame for Up Smash's Regieleki.
Yeah, for sure. Special defense raises on the Garchomp, which doesn't maybe matter a whole lot because it's going to faint.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think if it probably comes down to an Aleki speed tie, you just want to, I mean, you just Thunderbolt the Tapu Fini when it comes back in. And once you do that, it's a KO. It's Magnet Aleki, you're getting the KO. Even if you lose the speed tie and they get the reflect or the light screen up, Thunderbolt still should be KOing the Specs Fini. And
I think so.
We should just be seeing the Porygon kind of. Oh, I forgot it was Kartana in the back.
There's still a Kartana. Yeah, that was switched out for the Incineroar on the last turn. Or the previous turn.
You honestly, like... This makes it a little bit more difficult, actually. I think you still Thunderbolt the Fini and you Ice Beam the Kartana, and that should just win you the game, because you get 1 KO for sure. And if they target down... They can only target down 1 Pokemon with their Kartana. So I think that's like 100% win. If this Tapu Fini is indeed Specs.
Do you think a Moonblast takes out the Regieleki? But the Thunderbolt will take it out first.
Yeah, we know that Moonblast will take it out. So I think Ice Beam, you have to Ice Beam Kartana here, as it looks like that's what we're seeing. And Thunderbolt the Tapu Fini.
Yep, makes sense.
Any other play, you can kind of let them back in the game, but I think this guarantees your win here.
Yep, I agree.
Unless, of course, it is not Specs Fini. We looked at the damage previously. It did about half to Porygon, so we assumed it was Specs. We're seeing Recover and Thunderbolt into Kartana. Okay. This could get a little bit scary here. Although you could probably PP stall the Tapu Fini.
Very true. We see the Moonblast. Goes into the Aleki, that's what I expected. But if the Thunderbolt had gone into that Tapu Fini, that Moonblast wouldn't have gone off. And we do see a recover from the Porygon2. So maybe the PP stall is the plan here for Up Smash.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you have to Trick Room, just so you're recovering before they're attacking. Just so in case it does happen, you're in a better place. But
if this Tapu Fini has Calm Mind, though, you know, and you're wasting a turn Trick Rooming and then presumably recovering, and then Tapu Fini is able to call those turns when to Calm Mind, it's going to be a rough endgame.
I still believe we just know this is spec. Like, that damage is Specs damage from
Makes sense.
So, I mean, like, you put yourself in a position where, you beat it if you can get your 16 recover. How much PP does Moonblast have? I don't even know.
Me neither.
Because I'm not sure you can PP stall. I think it's 16 and 16. So, in fact, clicking the Recover Max Guard as opposed to the Trick Room Max Guard might end up losing Up Smash the game.
Max 24 on Moonblast.
Oh, well, if that's the case, then the Tapu Fini should just win this. It should be able to PP stall the recovers. Especially with things like special attack drops and...
Yeah, but when you start, like, weaving in some Trick Rooms in there, it's still probably going to be more than enough. Presuming that it is PP maxed.
The issue is for every single Moonblast you have to recover because it's doing about 40%. So there's really nothing to do.
That's true.
You have to PP stall, or you have to stall until terrain is up and then get a Tri Attack or Ice Beam freeze.
That's true.
If you just Thunderbolted the Kartana Thunderbolted the Fini the previous turn, I think it was pretty much a guaranteed win.
Yeah, and you're not going to be getting any damage off if you keep on recovering. Like you said, you have to keep recovering. If this Tapu Fini is PP max, then it probably will have enough. Plus, with each Moonblast, there's a chance of a special attack drop, which means that your Porygon, even if it decides to go for some damage, onto the Tapu Fini, it's definitely not going to be enough to do enough to KO it.
Yeah, and it looks like Brain is making the smart decision here and just waiting the timer out.
Yep.
Because there's no turn where Porygon2 is going to end at full HP, so you just know your Tapu Fini wins on timer.
Yep.
So there's really nothing Up Smash can do here. We might sit through this full 20-minute timer with the players
I respect it.
not realizing that the game is kind of sealed up at this point, but
yeah.
I mean, one critical hit and this is over as well.
Very true.
Because, yeah, I mean, there's 2 special attack drops now. I don't think there's any way through this for Up Smash. And yeah, it looks like Up Smash is going to be forfeiting here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a really tough matchup. That Specs Fini does so much damage to all the Pokemon that don't have like immediate offense, and you can't really bring some of the Pokemon that beat it if you're Up Smash. So it was just really tough there.
Yeah, very true. And it just goes to show you how important it is to identify your win condition as early as possible in a game. I mean, it's ongoing and an adjusting process, right? But at any point in the game, to know your win condition is so important because you may think you have 2 when in reality there is only 1. And if you pick the wrong one, it just happens. It happens to me frequently. So I'm not calling out judgment by any means.
Oh, no, of course. Anything we say is just a critique to both make the player better and ourselves better, not a critique of the player's style of play or ability.
For sure.
I think Up Smash knowing now can win that one in the future.
I agree.
I think that the issue is maybe not knowing that it was Specs Fini and predicting a Protect. In which case, like, that's just knowing the damage output, which is something that even we weren't 100% sure on, but based on the last couple of turns, we kind of realized, okay, that's what it is.